In October, Zoom hosted Zoomtopia in San Jose, California. I had the privilege of doing a few sessions, and one of those sessions was Microsoft and Zoom coexistence, the topic that you've heard me talk a lot about. In that session, I did 16 different demos that showcase the Zoom and Microsoft integration. So this video is about all those demos, and you're going to see them live. Well, live when I did them. So enjoy the video. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have all of these chapters. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have all these demos and chapters, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Please do if you want to, but you can go to the specific chapters for that topic that you're interested in. Enjoy. One session left, right? One session. On the last session on the last day. You better turn this game down. I'm going to talk loud. I am Patrick Kelley. I am a Zoom Distinguished Architect, and yes, it is still the coolest title at Zoom. I've been here for about 3.5 years. Before that, I worked for a small software company you might have heard of called Microsoft for 15 years. With that experience, I speak a lot to customers about that journey, about the Microsoft and Zoom coexistence journey, about the integration journey. And the reason I do that is because everyone's a Microsoft customer. And I'm not going to do this myself. I do have some friends that'll come up a little bit later and we'll introduce you to them. But why are you here? What are you here to learn? And I hope it's about the Microsoft and Zoom coexistence story. And the reason I keep using the word coexistence is this. There are 3 big ecosystems in the world, 3 big ones in the IT world, 3. Apple's one of them. Apple's an ecosystem. Apple has its own hardware. Apple has its own software. Apple has its own productivity suite, if you called Keynote productivity, right? They got their own email solution, but they are not an enterprise application. They're not an enterprise solution. In order to get to that level, you got to step up to Google. Google has its iOS, right? Its own OS. It's got its own hardware. But more importantly, it starts getting into enterprise applications. It starts getting into productivity. It starts getting into file storage. It obviously has email. But where it starts falling short is you start needing CRM applications, right, to finish your enterprise story. You start needing security and compliance applications. So it can't complete that enterprise platform. It can't complete that enterprise ecosystem. The only one that can do that is Microsoft. Microsoft has everything from Active Directory to Xbox, right? They're an identity company. They're a security company. They're a compliance company. Obviously, they have a CRMs, file storage, productivity, email. They also have UCaaS, small little application called Teams in there. And this is what we're talking about, is that Zoom is not an ecosystem. Zoom is a platform. 3 years ago, you probably would have said, hey, Zoom's a UCaaS platform. And you would have been right. We had meetings, right? We had phone had just came out. We had webinars, and that was about it. We were a UCaaS player, competing against other competitors in that UCaaS space, competing with teams in that UCaaS space. But then we started contact center. Now we're a UCaaS player and a CCaaS player. Then we had rooms, then we had events, digital signage. Now we're an AI company. We became a communications and collaboration platform. But guess what? We have to fit into an ecosystem. 99.86% of you are using Microsoft today. I made that set up. I have no idea what the real set is. I don't know. But I rarely walk into a customer that's all Google and Red Hat. Like that just doesn't happen. So we have to fit into the Microsoft ecosystem. And today, we're going to learn how we do that. What are the benefits of coexistence? What are the challenges of coexistence? We don't live in utopia today where you can have one application do everything for every workflow. That does not happen. I like to say there's two players in the collaboration communication space, us and Microsoft. But I also like to say we're the best in breed in both of those, in everything that we do, and we're getting better at everything that we do. The challenge is, with the Microsoft ecosystem, you probably already have, or your customers probably already have, Teams in it. How do we integrate into that? How do we coexist into that? Today, you're going to watch 16 different demos I've done. So that's not me up here talking for an hour, I promise you. You're going to see what a user sees with his experience. We're going to go through all the workflows that you're going to see why our user coexists with Zoom and Microsoft today. So it is demo-centric. And our approach, if you didn't pay attention to yesterday's keynote, is simple. It's very, very, very simple. It's the employee experience, leading to a better customer experience, which leads to a better total experience. Utopia, right, is one application that can do everything. Guess what we're striving for? We're striving for utopia. We're going to see what utopia looks like. We're going to see that because we're going to try to understand how Zoom and Microsoft can work together. That does include Microsoft Teams. So with that, I need some help. So Mandy, Jose, can you help me out?
They didn't play my walk-up music. I wanted Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. They didn't play it.
Jose, Mandy, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Mandy Young-Garby. I'm head of global architectures.
And I am Jose Mateo, and I lead global architects as well under Mandy.
Well, I wanted to bring them up because I wanted to showcase workflows in your environment. Not everyone works the same way. Some people work pretty much all internal. Some people are hybrid, work 50% internal, 50% external. Some people work completely external. Every workflow is different. HR works differently than accounting. Accounting works differently than sales. So I want to walk through some of those workflows. I want to introduce you to some of these people that are characters in our story. Tommy Teams. Tommy Teams works in accounting. He's a numbers nerd. That's all he does. He sits in Excel spreadsheets all day long, head down in a cubicle. If he has a meeting, it's probably with his other accounting nerds, right? And if you're an accountant, I apologize. I'm not really. Usually I pick it on you today. So in a Microsoft environment, we're going to, all these workflows that we're going to have examples of today have both Microsoft Teams and Zoom. We're giving users choice. That's the job of us as IT, right? Giving you choice, but also giving you the best tool for the experience. Tommy Teams works in accounting. 5% of his workload is actually external. That's wrong, by the way. It's 90%. 90%, that's bad math. 95% of it is internal. So he's a native Teams user, right? We have Teams and Zoom in the same spot. So when he wants to work in Teams, he certainly can do that because he's talking and chatting with other accounting, maybe all internal. So rarely does he have external meetings. Rarely is he making a phone call. Let's walk through what Tommy Teams is talking about.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Tommy.
My name is Tommy Teams, and I am an accountant, as you can tell by my glasses. I'm either in Teams or Outlook or Excel all day long. Sometimes I need to make calls, receive phone calls. And, I know in this day and age, a lot of people don't use their phones for calling, but I do. And I heard our org is deploying Zoom Phone. but I hate leaving the Teams client. And I want to be able to use my native Teams client to use calls through Zoom. Can I do that?
Can you make Zoom calls through Microsoft Teams? Now we're going to see the demo. The answer is yes. We can make native Zoom calls through Microsoft Teams. This is a Microsoft Teams user right here. That's the native dialer in Microsoft Teams. I'm going to make a phone call. Tommy's going to make a phone call inside of Microsoft Teams, but we're using Zoom direct routing to make this phone call. I can make that phone call inside of Teams. I haven't left Teams to make that phone call. I'm using Zoom to make this phone call. Look, Zoom honors all of these things from Zoom Phone. DTMF inside of Teams using Zoom Phone. Call hold inside of Teams. I'll resume that call real quick. We can transfer calls using Zoom Phone inside of Teams. We can also do more, right? We can do call recording inside of Teams. We can do call translation, language and research translation, sorry. We can turn on live captions, all inside of Microsoft Teams using the power of Zoom Phone. You can see the entire call history of all our Zoom Phone calls, right? We can see all calls, we can see missed calls. We can see all the calls that were incoming, duration, whether they were incoming, whether they were outgoing. We can see that because we're staying in the Teams clients, but we're leveraging the power of Zoom Phone for all of these. What does that give you? That gives you built-in operational readiness, for one thing. It gives you built-in business continuity. Why that's important is this. Let's say fictitiously Microsoft Teams went down. Fictitiously, that never happens, right? But what if it goes down? What if I have a built-in operational readiness plan with Microsoft Teams and Zoom? I can switch over to Zoom Phone with one toggle. That's an important business workflow. But there's others, right, Tommy?
That's right. That's pretty dope, by the way, what you just showed. But most of my day, I'm in Excel. I want to be able to, stay in Excel. And if I take a phone call, there's a lot of toggle tax, right, between this and the other thing. So I would just want to be able to stay in one thing and still be able to use Zoom Phone. Show me that.
Ooh, that's stepping up the challenges, are you? Zoom Phone Assistant is out now. Zoom Phone Assistant allows you to have Zoom Phone entirely in your desktop and stay in the same application. Think about the workflow that Tommy just talked about. I'm in Excel. I'm a numbers nerd. In the past, what did I have to do to make a phone call? I had to minimize Excel. I had to go to Zoom Phone or Microsoft Teams Phone, make a phone call, then go back to Excel once the phone call's over. What if I could hover Zoom Phone inside of your desktop, taking advantage of your real estate? Let's see what it looks like. Tommy's working on a mortgage, apparently, doing numbers stuff. But look at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. You see a slight black bar there? Like a little black sliver there. What if I wanted to receive a phone call, make a phone call? Boom. Zoom Phone Assistant can hover right now inside of Excel. I haven't taken up real estate from my desktop. I can now pull up a dialer and I haven't left Excel. Notice it's hovering over the top. I can do that today. I can make a phone call. Please don't call me. That's my cell phone number. All right, you know what? Do call me. I don't care. That's fine. Now what happens is I've connected that phone call. I can still be working in Excel because once I start working in Excel, that phone stays on top. It does not go behind. The focus stays on Zoom Phone. Now I can do DTMF, again, inside of Zoom Phone, inside of my Excel spreadsheet, and pick any application. It could be anything.
This call is being recorded.
This call is being recorded. I can record calls with Zoom Phone inside of Excel. I can put calls on hold, right? I can put calls on park. I can park calls. Say I need to go to the printer and print out this Excel spreadsheet, and I want to talk on the phone in there. I can park this phone call here, walk to the next office. I can see the participants in the call. This is obviously an example of two people in a call, but you could have obviously a conference call as well. I can transfer calls right from Zoom Phone Assistant. The power of Zoom Phone, small little widget, right? I can put calls on hold. All the advanced functions of Zoom Phone inside of any application. And again, notice that I can focus this on one Zoom Phone. And guess what just happened? I can move this so I can take advantage of the screen real estate, still working in Excel, all the while being on a phone call. That's the power of Zoom Phone Assistant. I probably shouldn't say this, but Zoom Meeting Assistant's coming too. Look for that later. I can move this anywhere I want. And then when I'm done with it, I hover to the side. I can hover to the left, right, bottom, doesn't matter. Whatever user you like. That all you got for me, Tommy?
Nope. You know what's the most annoying thing?
Please
When
tell
I'm
me.
in Teams and the Zoom users try to call me, and as if they can't see that my presence is busy. I guess busy is the new available. So is there a way to share my presence across to the Teams world? I mean, to the Zoom world from Teams?
That's an amazing question. There's two types of presence, right? There's free busy presence, exchange type presence, right? I'm in a meeting from 9 to 10. At 9 o'clock, I go busy, right? I go red. It doesn't mean I'm in a meeting. It just means my calendar says 9 to 10. That's free busy presence. We're talking about rich presence. That's the next level. Because free busy presence, Zoom can already do. We can integrate Zoom with Exchange Calendar. So when you have a Zoom meeting from 9 to 10, you have a Teams meeting from 10 to 11, you go busy. Both platforms see you're busy, both platforms go red. Dynamic presence is the ability to dynamically change presence on the fly. i.e., I pick up my Zoom phone. I made a Zoom Phone Assistant call using phone. I am now on a call. I am now busy. I start an ad hoc meeting in Zoom. I am now on a meeting. I am busy. What we're doing, we just went global beta with this. And if you want to be on this, by the way, beta, talk to me afterwards. We are now pushing presence from Zoom into Microsoft Teams. Let's see what it looks like. Guess what? Teams is on the left, Zoom's on the right. I'm going to change presence. I'm going to manually change my presence from available to busy. Bet you can't guess what's going to happen. Look at Microsoft Teams. Goes busy on the fly. We can do that with every level of integration with presence now. We can go from busy, we can go to do not disturb. Let's go to do not disturb inside of Zoom, and look what happens in Microsoft Teams. Not only does it go D&D, but it alerts the Zoom user is do not disturb. This is one-way presence integration right here from Zoom to Microsoft Teams. Again, we're looking to push this out GA later on this year. Tommy, are you done?
One last thing,
Of course.
and then I'm ready for the Zoomtopia hat. Outlook. I'm in Outlook all day long, and I have to schedule. Microsoft makes it easy. I want to schedule a Teams call, new meeting, done. Can I do the same thing in Outlook, or is there I feel like I got to go to this portal, all this stuff? Hook me up.
How do we make Tommy's life easier? Right? Outlook is where 99.86% of your meetings are conducted, right? Created. I completely made that setup too, by the way. I bet I'm not that far off. Can you create meetings in Teams? The answer is yes. Can you create meetings in Zoom? The answer is yes. But the workflows, people create meetings, schedule meetings, book meetings from Outlook. Why? Because it's been doing it for 4,000 years. That's how long Outlook's been around. That's made up as well. The point is that workflow, you want to stay in Outlook and create that meeting, you can do that with the Outlook integration. Let's see what it looks like. From Zoom's download page, you can download this Outlook plugin. And what this allows you to do is when you're in your meetings tab or even when you're inbox, I can now start instant messages right from Outlook. Start Zoom meetings right from Outlook. I can, of course, schedule meetings right from Outlook. And what this is doing is tying into our integration with Zoom and Outlook. So when I create a meeting, you've done this a million times before, right? I put a whole bunch of participants in there. I can do that, and it creates that Zoom meeting. But what if you wanted to consistently create meetings from Zoom? File, go to Options, go to your calendar integration, and look what's happening right here. Add meeting provider. Guess what you're going to see? Zoom. So now every single meeting I create automatically makes a Zoom meeting. That is our Outlook integration. Makes it super simple, super seamless to create meetings inside of Outlook utilizing that Zoom plugin. The great thing about this plugin is it's not only in the calendar, but it's also on the inbox as well. Also, we can do this in Outlook Web Access, like we're doing right here. We can create a new calendar invite from Outlook Web Access, tie in that Zoom plugin right from Outlook Web Access. Look what happens. It populates that with a Zoom meeting inside of Outlook Web Access. Super cool integration. Obviously, we've had this for a number of years, but I want to showcase how do we do this in Outlook Web Access too. We talked about creating affinity with meetings. Guess what? We can all do this inside of Outlook Web Access. Being able to create events and invitations only from Zoom if you choose to. Events and invitations, look at that. The same choices that we had in the full Outlook client, we can do in Outlook Web Access, and choosing Zoom to be a preferred vendor for meetings.
I think you got me, man. We're good.
Anything else, Tommy?
I think we're good. Holly, what do you have?
Holly, you have any problems?
Hi, everyone. I'm Holly Hybrid, and I am a HR person. Most people are really afraid when I call them. And today I live 50% of the time in Teams, 50% of the time in Zoom, but I really do love Zoom. There's a lot of cool stuff I do in Zoom, but today I'm bouncing between the two applications. So please hook me up too, because you made Tommy really happy. Can I use the cool stuff in Zoom inside of Microsoft Teams without leaving Teams?
That is a fantastic question. Can Holly do Zoom stuff in Microsoft Teams? The answer is yes. Of course, I wouldn't have posted the question if I didn't have an answer. Inside of the Teams app marketplace, we have a Zoom app. If you didn't see my support article from last week, because I'm probably sure you don't read a lot of support articles in Zoom for casual reading, you see we now have 3 apps. One is a full Zoom application that has both meetings and phone in it. Some customers just want one application that does meetings. So we have a new Zoom Meetings app inside of Marketplace. Some people just want Zoom Phone. We have a Zoom Phone only app inside of Marketplace. The point is, we can do all those functions inside of Microsoft Teams using the Zoom app. Let's show them how to do it. This looks like Microsoft Teams because it is Microsoft Teams. Channels, chats, all right there. This is a typical Microsoft Teams user. But I want to take advantage of the Zoom app. Look on the left nav bar. You see a Zoom app right there. Guess what? It launches into the Zoom app, and now I can do Zoom meeting functions right from the Meetings tab. If I want to start a meeting, guess what? I hit the Start a Meeting button, and I can type in names. These names, by the way, are Active Directory names because we've integrated Active Directory with Zoom as well. I can type external people too, if I really want to. Jose and Mandy are going to be invited to this fake meeting with Holly. And we can just start the meeting. Guess what? I haven't left Teams. I'm starting a Zoom meeting from Microsoft Teams. Holly Hybrid now is in a Zoom meeting, and she started it from Microsoft Teams. What else is there, right? That's start a meeting. What about schedule a meeting? Guess what it does? Schedules a meeting. Schedules a meeting inside of Microsoft Teams using Zoom. And then all the standard features you would see when schedule a meeting are right here. Obviously, you could type in participants from Active Directory or external, but we can invite rooms now, Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. Send this meeting to them. That way you can use direct guest join to join across platforms, agnostic of what provider sent the meeting. We can do advanced functions too, and advanced security, add passcodes, add waiting rooms. We can even do encrypted EE2, sorry, end-to-end encryption. We can do that by setting up this policies inside of Microsoft Teams using the Zoom application. Obviously, we can send that and it sets up. Once we set that up, right, look what my Zoom calendar now holds. A brand new Zoom meeting. Remember we integrated Zoom with Outlook already? Guess what's going to happen inside of Microsoft Teams? I could be able to see and start that Zoom meeting right from the Zoom app, but I could also see non-Zoom meetings, right? Say I had a PTO meeting or I had a Teams meeting. I can see those in that Zoom app. If I go to the Teams calendar, guess what? I see all the exact same meetings because we're all going to Exchange for all of our meeting repository. We're synchronized across all three of these because now I can see the same meetings in the Zoom client. Message extensions is another cool thing. What if I'm chatting with somebody, with Holly, and she's like, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I want to chat with you anymore. I want to talk to you. We can now go to message extensions and start an instant meeting right from there. We can make a phone call right from the bottom of the message extension. Again, making Zoom one click away in a Microsoft Teams environment. Guess what? We can share whiteboards inside of Microsoft Teams. I can send Zoom whiteboards inside Microsoft Teams right from message extensions or right from my Zoom client. Now we can both open up that whiteboard and co-author on that whiteboard. We can extend Zoom Phone inside of Microsoft Teams. Again, I can see my call history. I can see my missed calls. I can see what direction they were, inbound, outbound. I can see how long they was. I can see call recordings. I can play call recordings inside of Microsoft Teams. I can play voicemail inside of Microsoft Teams. All of these are pulling it from Zoom Phone. I can send texts inside of Microsoft Teams using the power of Zoom Phone.
All right, PK, you got me. Now I can start and join meetings and phone calls with Zoom in Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Got one more thing for you though.
Of course you do.
I would love to just stay in Zoom. Is there a way I can collaborate with internal employees, external partners, because I'm HR, using chat?
Collaboration is different than communication. Collaboration is email, is chat, is file sharing. Collaboration could be real time or it could be asynchronous. Communication is real time. Phone calls, meetings, events, webinars. But collaboration is the core of how we get work done. We collaborate before we meet. I gave this example earlier with the customer. Remember, I have a gray hair, a lot of gray hair you can see. Remember back in the day, if you have a gray hair like I do, when you could only text inside of Sprint or Verizon, you couldn't text across carriers. It was useless. Unless your girlfriend or boyfriend were on the same platform, right? You couldn't text across. It didn't really gain a lot of traction. That's kind of like chat today. What happened when carriers would allow you to SMS across platforms? Boom, chat blew up. And that's how the world collaborates today. Same thing that we're trying to do here at Zoom with our Mio integration. Mio allows us to chat across platforms now. When I say platforms, obviously in this example, I'm going to show how Zoom Team Chat can cross into Microsoft Teams. Imagine that. Imagine a user being able to choose what platform they wanted and staying in that platform for as long as possible. Remember I talked about earlier what we're trying to do? Create Utopia? Create a better user experience? A better employee experience? Wouldn't it be amazing to stay inside of Zoom and chat with Microsoft Teams users? We're going to see how we do it. This is using our Mio integration right here. Obviously, on the left, I have Microsoft Teams. I'm Peter in this example. On the right, I have Zoom. I happen to be Patrick in this example. But I want to chat across platforms. I want to chat from Patrick in Zoom with Peter in Microsoft Teams. So let's see what happens. Peter's going to send, hey, a message from Teams to Zoom. And then Patrick's going to send a message from Zoom to Teams. We're going to send them these messages across using that Mio integration, and look what's coming across. Those chats, real time. That's powerful right now. That way we can chat across platforms. We can do reactions. We can do emojis. More importantly, we can do chats across channels. Channels. In this example, we're in 2 different channels, right? The same channel across 2 different clients. We're in a Zoom Teams demo channel. Patrick's going to send a message from my Teams channel, from my Zoom channel to the Teams channel, and vice versa, right? So from Zoom to Teams in this example, guess what? It just shot across, and from Teams to Zoom inside that channel. We're synchronizing these channels, allowing users to have choice of what client they utilize. And again, we honor all reactions as well as emojis. Our emojis look a little bit better than Microsoft Teams if you haven't noticed, but I'm not an artist. But this is cool, right? We can now do this across platforms. We can still collaborate however we want with Microsoft Teams and or Zoom. Holly, I bet you have, oh, look at this. I've shown the emojis. I forgot I did this. That's the Microsoft Teams smiley face emoji. It comes across as an emoji. We draw them a little differently. Again, see, Zoom looks way better. Holly, what else you got for me?
You know I want more. You are making HR very happy. So, okay, we got meetings, we got phone, we got chat. I need files, man. So I need to send, I need to receive files, and co-author. It would be awesome if I can send and receive using Zoom chat to Microsoft Teams users. Again, I want to be able to work on the same file, 2 separate clients. Can you do that?
Wow, these are getting harder, actually. Teams uses SharePoint for file integration, uses OneDrive for file integration. Anytime Microsoft Teams sends a file, there's no data in Teams, by the way. There's 0 data in Teams. Teams is a window to everything else. You know where your chats are stored? Exchange, right? You know where your contacts are stored? Active Directory. You know where your files are stored? OneDrive or SharePoint. So in order to integrate these 2 platforms, we have to integrate our file system with SharePoint. Today, Zoom by default, files are stored in Zoom Cloud. But we heard you as customers. You don't want to control 2 clouds, file repository. You want to use 1 cloud. I did this demo last year at Zoomtopia where I showed you SharePoint integration. SharePoint integration is the ability to integrate our Zoom team chat with SharePoint repository. Meaning this, every time you use Zoom team chat and send a file, it goes to SharePoint. Microsoft Teams uses SharePoint. How can we use the 2 together? Let's watch the demo. I'm in Zoom. I'm using SharePoint integration. Look what happened. It just came up with a bunch of Microsoft Office 365 applications. I'm going to start a PowerPoint file from my Zoom client. I'm going to create a PowerPoint file from Zoom client. That's an important thing to understand. I'm going to name the file, guess what? Probably some sort of test PowerPoint file. I'm going to open up PowerPoint from Zoom. Let's create a fake slide. Let's go to stock images so legal doesn't get involved. Let's create a slide on, looks like a movie theater. Yeah, movie theater. Well, that's boring. Let's use the designer in PowerPoint to make it pretty. Let's apply that right there. Boom, we have a slide. We have a slide we created, a PowerPoint slide we created from Zoom. Guess where it's at? SharePoint. Look, right there's the channel. I can now send this file inside of Zoom. Guess what? Everyone in this channel now has access to the SharePoint file. It's sent. Guess what? That file's not really in Zoom. It's in SharePoint. This is the file right here. How do we know that? Because now we're in Microsoft Teams. Look what's there in that channel. You see it? Test PowerPoint file, brand new. I just sent it. Microsoft Teams is using it because it's in SharePoint. You don't believe me? I'll open up SharePoint for you. There's the file. There's the channel that we started. Look at the name of the file inside of SharePoint. You got it. It's the same file. I can now share files between Zoom chat and Microsoft Teams. Guess what we can do now? Let's just pretend this screen is split, sorry. I've opened it up in Zoom and I've opened it up in Microsoft Teams. It's the same file. We're co-authoring on the file. Look, you can see right now, there's 2 different users in that file. Imagine that. I sent and created that file from Zoom Team Chat. Microsoft Teams users can open up that file. Now, regardless of what client you're in, you can utilize co-authoring from PowerPoint. Is that it?
One more, I promise, last one. Okay, I'm super impressed by everything you've shown me so far. But sometimes I work with external candidates or companies, and they're using Google for their productivity suite instead of Office 365. So I want to be all in on Zoom, but if you can show me how Zoom can also work with the Google suite, I'm going to stay on Zoom 100%. I'm going to actually bring Tommy with me too.
Not everyone uses Microsoft for their productivity suite. We talked about that earlier. Some enterprises use Google. Guess what? Zoom's one of them. So I want to be able to use my Zoom client to have a choice, as we talked about earlier. What's that employee experience? We talked about in the keynote. Zoomtopia, we talked about in the keynote. Having the ability to do everything in the Zoom client, that's our goal. Watch how we can do it with Google Drive. The Google Drive application has been out for a while. This is totally GA, right? So we just showed you how to do it in SharePoint. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in Google. Look what happens. I can create Google Productivity Suite applications right from my Zoom clients. Test for Zoomtopia. I'm going to create a brand new spreadsheet right from my Zoom client using the Google Drive application. Let's populate it with a bunch of bogus data, some ones across the table. That's all we really care about, right? The demo, you get to understand the demo. Now, this file, we can create it, we can send it. We're going to now send it to a channel or send it to another user. We're going to send that drive to another user. But look what just happened. It asked me for permissions on this file. I can now apply permissions to this file from the Zoom clients. I didn't have to go to Google Drive to do this. I could send this file across to a buddy, right? And he got it. Patrick just got it. He just said he got it. Now what happens? Let's go back into the file and start working on this file. But look what's happening right now. Twos are changing because look who's in it. Patrick's in it. We are now co-authoring on this file at the exact same time. I'm in this file, but Patrick's also in this file. And he's just gonna change all these. It's a recording, so I know what happens. He's gonna change all those twos, right? He just put all those twos in this spreadsheet. And now that spreadsheet is saved inside of Google Drive. And I can see, hey, perfect. I can see all the changes that you made. Now we can do SharePoint integration. Now we can do Google integration. Let's introduce our next player in this, right? Let's introduce Zach from Zoom. Zach, welcome to the stage. Oh, it's changing. He got an outfit.
Hi.
He's way happier than Tommy Teams. Did you notice?
Hi, I'm Zach, the Zoom guy. And I am in sales.
Of course you are.
Hey, so unlike Tommy and Holly, I'm not a big Teams user. I use Zoom almost exclusively. I have Team Chat enabled, got all my meetings. A lot of my external customers are out there. And one of the big pains in the neck is I heard Tommy earlier talking about toggle tax.
Yep.
I don't want to be able to, I don't want to have to do jump out of this and jump out of that, you know, just to check emails. I want to be able to use the power of the Outlook stuff, but in Zoom. Can we do that?
Zach. Yes, we can do that. You know, the answer is going to be all these questions, right? That's the whole point of the demo. Think about that from an application infinity perspective, right? What about, again, the employee experience? Being able to do everything we can inside of one application. Zoom does have mail, by the way. We have mail and calendar. We had that out for a few months now. But we understand that most enterprises probably don't use our mail and calendaring service because they already are using another one or another two. There's two big players out there, and it's not AOL and Yahoo, right? It is Microsoft and Google. And if you're a Microsoft shop, you're using Exchange for email. So I'm in Microsoft Teams like Tommy Teams has. How does he check email in Teams? He doesn't. There's no way to do it. He's got to get out of Microsoft Teams and go to Outlook and check email. Sends an email. Then he's got to go back into Teams. Zoom has solved that problem because we brought mail and calendar integration into the Zoom clients. Let's see what it looks like. There's Zoom. Zach Zoom. Look on the right side. Middle part is the calendar. On the right side, my entire calendar. Guess where that calendar came from? Exchange. Look at the top. I can check all my chats. More importantly, that calendar has an affinity on the right side. That calendar is always there. If I don't want it to be, I can kick it off. But more importantly, I have a mail icon now inside of Zoom. And more importantly, guess what? Look at the top left-hand corner. That is an Outlook mail integration. I'm pulling email right from Exchange and putting it into Zoom. Now, Zach, I apologize, Tommy.
Yeah, please.
Zach can now look at email from Exchange inside of Zoom. I can reply to emails inside of Zoom. I can forward emails inside of Zoom. I can move emails inside of Zoom. I don't have to go to the Outlook client any longer to do basic mail functionality. I can filter all these emails, unread, missed, inside of the Zoom client. I can star emails. So most of the things that I do in Outlook, I can now do in Zoom, again, increasing application affinity from the Zoom client. I can change my views inside of Mail. This is the Mail client. We can also do this with Google as well. Again, being a preferred vendor, you can choose which works best for you. Calendar inside of Zoom. No longer do we have to go to a separate place. We can see the full Exchange calendar and all my FreeBusy information from Exchange inside of Zoom. Obviously, we can create meetings inside of Zoom. We can create Zoom meetings inside of the calendar, and that calendar is synchronized with Microsoft Exchange. And guess what? All those calendars, no matter what client you're in, are synchronized now. Because Zoom's using the Exchange calendar, Outlook is using the Exchange calendar, and Teams is using the Exchange calendar. We can create meetings inside of this. We can create weekly meetings. We can create busy meetings. We can do whatever we'd like inside of this calendar. Again, increasing application affinity no matter what. This is super cool because it allows Zach to stay inside of Zoom. Now I can share files inside of Zoom. I can share whiteboards inside of Zoom. I can do this, and guess what? You can't do this in Microsoft Teams. This is a complete differentiator between our two platforms. As you can see on the calendar on the right side, we have now updated the calendar on the right side of that bar with the calendar. Now let's go to Teams real quick. Let's just say, hey, we have to go to Teams real quick. Look at that. This is the exact same meeting, all inside of Teams, because we're synchronizing that calendar. Look what we can do right here. We can start a Zoom meeting from inside of Microsoft Teams. See the join button? That's brand new. We don't have to copy and paste that application, that meeting anymore. We can literally start a Zoom meeting inside of Microsoft Teams from the calendar. Anything else?
Yeah.
You got it? You got more?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But as a sales guy, you know, I'm out there all day. Simplicity is what I'm looking for. I saw you do all of the cool SharePoint and Google Suite integration. I'm a simple dude, like OneDrive, right? I put all of my files in OneDrive, pretty efficient. Be amazing if you could just, you know, I'm in my team chat and then I bring in the OneDrive stuff. Can you do that for me?
As of Monday, the answer is yes. Good thing you didn't ask me this on Friday. If you weren't paying attention, because I know you don't spend most of your days looking at the Zoom app marketplace, waiting for apps to hit, we unveiled a OneDrive application inside of Zoom Team Chat. Meaning this, you saw what SharePoint looks like. You saw what Google looks like. We can now utilize OneDrive for your file repository and do integration with Microsoft Office 365. Let's look at the demo. Look at the bottom. There's a little OneDrive icon now inside of Zoom. I can now integrate OneDrive with Zoom Team Chat. Now I can create all these documents inside of Zoom Team Chat. So let's create a Zoomtopia document, right? Right from OneDrive, right from our Zoom client. Zoomtopia demo, let's kick it off. A Word document. Simple Word document. Let's do some just copy and paste, some basic text inside of a Word document. And now guess what? That Word document's created. Look where it's stored. You should know the answer. It's in OneDrive, right there. That document is in OneDrive automatically. Remember what we did when we sent that Google file? We applied permissions to it. Guess what we can do with OneDrive now? We can apply permissions to that file right from OneDrive. You want channel members to see it? Great. You want channel members to edit it? Great. You want organization to edit it? Great. We can do all that now inside of the Zoom client. No longer do you have to go to OneDrive and change permissions on that file. We can do that right from Zoom. The cool thing about it is now we can send that file to anybody we want, internal or external. It's still stored on OneDrive. The other person that receives this file has to authenticate to get that file, right? I didn't show that part of the demo, but we have to authenticate to get that file because we want to make sure that person is who we send it to. But look what's happening. I just showcased Patrick's in this file right now. I can now co-author on that file real time with another user. And I don't care if they're on Microsoft Teams or Zoom. We can now change this file, co-author on this file, edit on this file real time from Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And now this file is saved in OneDrive. Patrick right now is typing some stuff in. I don't know what he's saying. He inserts a picture. I didn't do that. Co-authoring on this file did that. Super cool way and experience inside of OneDrive. That just dropped on Monday. So you can see right here, new file inside of OneDrive. All right, cool. Let's go. Hey, can we go on to, I know we're running out of time. Can we kill this video and go on to the next use case? That would be fantastic. I should have warned you that there will probably not be any Q&A after this session because there's a lot of demos. All right. Zach,
Yeah.
Did you watch the keynote yesterday?
I did, and I heard about some really cool AI functions. Problem is, again, I'm primarily Zoom on my client, but the back-end stuff is Microsoft. That's the challenge for me. And so I want to be able to use some of these AI functions that you showed there on the screen, but leveraging Microsoft on the back. I bet you can't do that.
Oh, man. You bet we can't do that, huh? Well, let's see how we can do that. Let's go to the demo. Email Compose. You saw it yesterday. Let's see it in action with Zoom and Microsoft Exchange. Again, we're in Outlook integration with the Zoom client. We have the email that Zach got. Look, it says Zach, blah, blah, blah. He said a whole bunch of great stuff. But I don't want to have to reply and type all that stuff in. I want to use Email Compose from Zoom AI to reply to this email. Look what's happening right now. You see Email Compose. I'm going to compose a message that says, hey, send a follow-up email to Zach using Email Compose. Generate it. Zoom AI is generating an email inside of Outlook. I can now change the length of that Outlook, that email. I'm not going to, you don't have to read it. It's okay. But we can make this email longer, right? We want to add some more verbiage to it. We can make it shorter. And if I didn't like the length of that one, we can actually change the tone of this email. Let's change the tone. Well, let's just make it longer first. That's what demo is doing. We're going to make it longer. And I'm not going to ask you to reread it, but it's going to recompose that email and make it even a longer email. But I don't like the tone of it. It's too formal. Let's change the tone to something maybe more humorous. Look at all these choices. I can change the choice of this tone. Let's make it more friendly. Let's make this email inside of Outlook more friendly using the Zoom client. We're generating this email, and now let's read it real quick. I'll highlight the big parts, I promise. Look at this. I really enjoyed, that seems very friendly, right? What else? What's another example of friendly? I appreciate your guidance. God, Zach is super friendly.
Really friendly.
Yeah. What else we got in here? I think there's one more in here. Yeah. Oh, I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Wow, that's super friendly. We can then insert this email and send it on to the customer inside of Zoom email using Email Compose. Zach, that can't be the only thing you want to see.
Everything you've showed me so far has been pretty dope, yeah? But you've shown me all of this stuff in Microsoft ecosystem. Can we just do this natively with Zoom, a lot of this stuff?
Let's just do it all in Zoom,
Yeah.
right? Let's just do it all in Zoom. Let's see what AI Companion does. Some examples of AI Companion. You saw this yesterday. Sorry to kill the surprise. But AI Companion is part of the Zoom ecosystem, right? Marketing would get mad at me if I didn't do an AI Companion slide on this deck, even though it has nothing to do with Microsoft at this point. But we can do all this stuff inside of the Zoom client. We can do Zoom chat summaries inside of the client. We can summarize the meetings inside of the Zoom client using AI Companion as well. We can also compose reply inside of Companion, both chat and email, right? We can make it longer, make it shorter, change tone, both in chat as well as email. What else can we do inside? When we join a meeting, we can turn on AI Companion. And guess what? When we're late to the meeting, we can see, hey, what was discussed while I was gone? And what's the one thing I'm going to look for? My name, in case I got to sign something. We can do whiteboard compose as of last week inside of Zoom, inside of the Zoom client, and send that to Microsoft Teams. We can generate these brand new whiteboards inside of Zoom and share them with Microsoft Teams. Obviously, AI Companion is at no additional cost with a paid license. We've stressed that a number of times in the keynote, but the powerful part of this AI Companion, it's going to save you time and energy as a user. We can summarize SMS conversations inside of the Zoom client. Remember, we can use SMS inside of Microsoft Teams? We can do that too inside the Zoom client. Can we kill this video and go to the next one? I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. I apologize. I got 5 minutes, 51 seconds, and I have 3 hours of demos left. Whew. All right, let's burn through these a little bit, because Alex the admin, that's me. I work within IT. Obviously, I'm changing all these collaboration and communication parameters. I have to make all these changes in the admin console or the Microsoft Teams console. How do I do that? Let's take an example. Direct routing admin. Let's go ahead and display this and I'll talk over it. We showcased the direct routing solution back in the very first demo when Tommy Teams had to make calls inside of Microsoft Teams using Zoom admin, Zoom phone. Here's how we do it. We go to the admin console, go to Zoom phone. Now on the very bottom, you're going to see allow Microsoft Teams calling. See how that calls routing to Teams? What if the Teams went down? We can now route that call to Zoom. We can enable this in the Zoom admin console. We can also enable users right from this admin console too, and those apply to Microsoft Teams. One of the cool things is now we can change user phone numbers inside of the Zoom admin console, and Teams adheres to those policies. So let's kind of take a look real quick at a user. We'll go to example user, we'll go to Wes. I think Wes is my example user. Look what happens here. I'm going to assign him a number, sync with Teams. I can now sync this number, this Zoom number, with Microsoft Teams. I got to sync this routing policy with Microsoft Teams. So once we hit this sync, Zoom phone is going to push these changes to the Teams admin portal. Now it's synced. We're successful. Truth, it takes a little bit more than 5 seconds, but I made it look like it's instantaneous. But that's okay. But let's look at it from the Microsoft Teams side. Let's go to the Teams app, the Teams voice policy with our users in it. Here's Wes inside of Microsoft Teams. Notice the same phone number. Notice the same same call routing policies. I don't expect you to memorize it. The answer is yes, you already noticed it. It's the same policy inside of Microsoft Teams from Zoom. Let's go to the next slide. This demo is longer than I'd hoped for it to be. 3 minutes. Whew. Zoom Spaces. Zoom Spaces is a part of our Zoom Spaces interoperability. From Zoom Rooms, we can join Microsoft Teams rooms. From Zoom Rooms, we can join Google Meetings, WebEx meetings, live from the Zoom room. 2 different ways, right? We can do a scheduled meeting and that Zoom meeting pops up on our Zoom room, or we can do it dynamically. We can literally walk into a Zoom room, hit Microsoft Teams, and join right from a static meeting ID. Let's see what that demo looks like. Oh man, it's gonna be short. Okay, let's go to Zoom admin. Let's go to room management. Let's go to Zoom rooms. And let's see what it looks like. This is super simple. This is how easy it is. We were talking about a customer earlier about how super easy this is to configure. We're gonna go to a Zoom room. See, my Zoom rooms is integrated with Exchange. See that right there? I can also integrate Zoom rooms with Google. I have that choice as a user. Let's go to account settings on that Zoom room. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Hurry, go all the way to the bottom. We're running out of time. Meetings. Now all the way to the bottom. There you go. Account man. There we go. All the way to the bottom. You're going to see right here. This is all you have to do. Support interoperability with Zoom rooms. Toggle that on. Look at my choices. Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, WebEx, all from one portal. That's all it takes to make those icons show up on your Zoom room to have those integrations. Let's kick it to the next slide real quick. SharePoint integration. We showcased this earlier from a user perspective. How do I turn it on in the admin portal? Super simple. One toggle. Let's look. I go to my Zoom admin portal. I go to account management. I'm going to go to account settings. This is super simple. Once I go to account settings, I'm going to see Zoom Team Chat. Zoom Chat's on the top. 1 minute, 25 seconds. Oh God. On the way to the bottom, it says storage on the left side. Once I click storage, I'm going to come up with an opportunity to change my storage of my Zoom Team Chat. Look at the middle of the screen. I turn that on where it says Microsoft SharePoint. I can now integrate Microsoft SharePoint by authenticating my Zoom account to my Microsoft Teams SharePoint repository. Now, every single new file that's shared inside of Zoom Team Chat goes to Microsoft SharePoint. Okay, I got one more, Microsoft Purview. You know what? I'm gonna skip this slide, I don't care. How about this? I wanna close it down by saying Microsoft Purview. You know what, I lied. Go ahead and play it, it's not that long. 41 seconds. Let go. Could I put it in double speed? I'm kidding, you can't do that. What happens here too is in 33 seconds, I'm going to showcase real quick. What if I send a file that has credit card information? What if I send a file that has financial information inside of Zoom Team Chat? Guess what? We can stop that because we're using Microsoft Purview inside of our application. Because remember where these files are stored. All these files are stored in SharePoint. So if we apply DLP policies, e-discovery policies inside of SharePoint, Zoom honors those. You can see right there is the credit card information in that Word file. I have now applied that to Zoom Team Chat. I've stopped that file from happening. Look what happens when I go to SharePoint. That file has hit a policy. What's that policy? I got 0 seconds. This is the last demo, I promise. This is it. We're done. This policy is coming from DLP. Look right here. I have a policy that says financial data for Teams, for Zoom, inside of DLP. It's basic. I go to edit it. It's real simple. I've now applied financial policies to Microsoft Purview, which adheres to Zoom Client, which adheres to all the files. I'm going to turn it on for SharePoint because why do we care? Because all our files now are in SharePoint. We're going to apply this policy inside of Microsoft Purview. It's really simple. Any financial information, credit card information, ABA routing information inside of Zoom Team Chat will hit this policy and it'll stop that file from sending. All right, that's it. I know I'm over. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming to Zoomtopia. Hope that was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on LinkedIn. Have a great day.